Hello and welcome. The show is Keeping Connected After Hours with Trevor Crow, and tonight we're in partnership with W2W Magazine, and we're talking about divorce Fairfield County style. I have a panel of experts sitting next to me. Fabulous woman, by the way. First off is Libby Tritchler. She's recently divorced realtor who lives in Fairfield County her whole life, right? Entire life, yes, I knew that. And then next to Libby is Laura Campbell. She's a divorce strategist and also a CEO of the D-Spot, also founder of that company. She's amazing too. And next to Laura is Randy Lerman, associate publisher of W2W Magazine. So let's just jump right in, ladies. Let's talk about sex, or the lack thereof, right? You're going through a divorce or in the process. How do you handle that?
I have a personal beef with the following scenario. I could discover a cure for cancer, but nobody cares. They want to know, have I met a guy? That is the number one issue that everyone wants to know when a person's going through a divorce. Notwithstanding the fact that maybe you should focus on other things like developing a career or a profession, it's just people instantaneously think that if you're divorced, you should be out looking. And I have a problem with that. Not that I'm not, but I just think there are other issues. You know?
But, okay, so you're working on your career, which is really cool. You're doing this, you're associate publisher of W2W Magazine, in which we're partnership tonight. But what about sex? Can you get any? I mean, how do you do it? What happens when you're getting divorced?
I hope so.
I mean, it's a problem.
I've seen a lot worse than a lot. But it's just not my number one priority right now.
Oh, okay.
You know, I got some teenage boys who the mere sight of me embarrasses them in school. So I just have other concerns, which I think is reasonable given the situation.
So you have to kind of scale back, and you're not really looking for that person right now. You're saying, okay, I'm going to focus on the career. Laura.
Yes.
You coach women on how to sort of transition through all these kind of rocky, tough moments, and this is one of the toughest areas that we're all kind of dealing with, because how do you find somebody in this kind of rough world, and everybody kind of wants sex, right? And it's hard to find a good person to have it with while you're going through this process.
Yeah. So if you've gone through divorce, or if you're going to go through divorce, the likelihood is, it's not true in all cases, the likelihood is that you haven't had sex in quite some time. At least not with your spouse. You know, the reality is that reconnecting to yourself sexually is a big part of going through divorce. I mean, there's the sex issue, and then there's the reconnecting with yourself around your sensuality and your sexuality, and they're two different things. And I do work with women on how to do that, because that's a really important piece of the process of moving from married life to divorce lifestyle. It's just part of the process. It's complicated, it's messy, it's really great, but it's something that deserves your attention, in my opinion.
I like that. I think that's excellent thought. And yes, it's true. I think a lot of marriages, as they're going downhill, really are not connecting in the bedroom. So you do have to sort of reconnect, right? And figure out what it is you want and need.
And let's face it, sex after 40 is different than sex at 20. So, you know, you have to, you know, you can come out gangbusters thinking you're 20, you're not.
You're not. Yeah.
For
Things are
I heard 40 and up is much better.
Oh, you know what? I wouldn't go back if you paid me. If you paid me, sex after 40 is far better. However, it's different.
Okay, so my question for Libby is, a lot of times I think there's folks, they're going through the divorce process and they've sort of found a friend, or maybe a sort of an extra buddy out there, friends with benefits, and what are you hearing? I wish.
I don't know. I think I'm, you know, one of the few in Fairfield County that didn't have a significant other when I chose to dissolve the marriage, and I was the one who chose. So I think I made a mistake in that regard. I should have thought that out a little better. And then the whole dating thing. So that's what I struggle with. How do you get yourself back out there? How do you date? Do you get to have sex on the first date?
No, there are rules. I'm told there are
There's rules, apparently.
There's not rules.
And it would be so...
sex until number 4 dates.
It would be
4 dates. I didn't know that.
I
should have talked to you.
I don't agree.
So then you think you have to have a friend out there, and that, what a perfect situation that would be. You know, you could have like a Tuesday night friend night, but they're all married.
They're all married.
They're all married. And I don't want to cause somebody else's divorce.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
So okay, so back to Laura. What do you start coaching women around dating and getting back out there? Because that's a very scary prospect. It doesn't necessarily feel good to sort of feel like you're in high school again? Like, is he going to call or text or whatever?
So there's a couple of things that your audience should know. One of them is that I think the statistic is 95% or greater of relationships that started with infidelity and they end. And every single one of them thinks that they're different, that they're truly the ones that are in love and they're the ones that are going to make it. It's not true. And part of that is because dating and romance and sustainable relationships are only successful when the person within them is happy, healthy, and whole. So if you're coming out of a divorce and you don't feel that way and you're jumping on Match, it's going to be an awful experience.
That may be a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
Take your time.
I happen to think, I'll go out on a limb because I always go out on a limb, that there's a place for friends with benefits after divorce, as most women and men, I'm not a man, but I can speak for a man, you do want to connect. You want the intimacy that comes from sex and from romance, but you're not yet ready for the relationship that also comes with having a new.
So Libby's point is, you know, maybe this is a really good way to kind of deal with that particular aspect of life. How about you, Randy? Have you connected in with the friends with benefits or just gone straight to dating?
I've gone on a couple of dates that haven't fared that well. Yeah, because my mind's not in it. It's like I'm not, you know, I've always been the kind of person, one thing at a time. And like I said, I mean, I'm in the middle of the process. I'm just not there yet. And there's no point for me to, I can't think of being with someone emotionally or physically really until I'm just ready for it.
But my guess though is you have a lot of men attracted to you. You're beautiful and you're smart and successful and all these things. I would imagine you have plenty of, you know, interests, put it that way.
You know, interestingly, not so much. I don't know. I don't know, but you know what, honestly, it's like I'm not, you know, I'm not out there. I'm not, you know, I'm not on the dating sites. I'm not, my head is not in that place.
Small town.
It is
It's a very small town, and I don't want to be with my ex best friend's guy that I mean, that's such an incestuous Fairfield County world we live in. You know, you don't even know who you're bringing, you know, it could be, it's just.
Very small world.
Like after divorce, Trevor, is complicated, right? It's not complicated. It's complicated, and so when you are coming out of it and you're starting to create, especially for women, when you're trying to figure out who you are, you've got children, right? So you need to be cognizant of how your actions affect, you know, those little people we call, you know, our children. They are there.
And they are part of the team.
It's important to make decisions that meet your needs, but at the same time allow you to create a life that's self-sufficient and that's happy, and you know, and that's going to bring you everything that you imagine, because you really don't want to make the same choices that you made before. You want to make new choices.
So Libby, you finished with your divorce. From all accounts I've heard, it was fairly amicable, and you're starting to date again. How is it out there? Is it really rough? Is it awful? Is it kind of okay? Is it interesting and entertaining, or no?
Well, I'm not really dating because it's not that interesting.
Okay. Okay.
Is it rough though?
Well, I've experienced a few dates. It's different. You know, I have a 21-year-old son, and I watch how he deals with sex and hormones, and we were all like that at 21, and I think now at my age it's much more of an emotional connection. I know in about 5 minutes of sitting down and having the cup of coffee that you share with your date or the first drink at a bar, I know right away that this is never going to be.
Isn't that kind of nice though, in a way, just kind of being a little bit more mature, kind of understanding right off the bat? That's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, but we may never have sex again. That's the scary part.
I'm always here for you, Libby.
Waiting for that connection.
All right, well, this has been a very interesting conversation. I'm so glad I've had these beautiful women, experts on divorce. Randy Lerman, who is going through it, who's also associate publisher of W2W magazine, and Laura Campbell, who is the CEO of the D-Spot, and we have Libby Trichler, realtor, who is now divorced here in Fairfield County. And there's a lot to be learned from all this, right? That you know, maybe a little friends with benefits is maybe a good thing to have while you're going through that transitional phase. And in the end, you really do want to have a healthy relationship with sex and eventually with the next person in your life if you're open to it and if that's something you want. And also, since I have recently been remarried, there are good guys out there.
Oh, yes.
And it is worth looking around. And it's worth getting yourself out there because, you know what, there are some really terrific people, but take it slow. So this is Keeping Connected After Hours with Trevor Crow. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like us on Facebook. We love to hear your questions and your opinions, and send them in. We'll talk about them right up here on stage. So stay tuned.